If there is a God, do I argue gender? If God is so big, does God even care? I don't mean about me, I just mean about the details. Oh, I'm blinded by God. They say that God's everywhere. But grace I see, God I don't. Sometimes I believe, sometimes I don't. But grace I feel, and grace I know. If God is grace, then God is touching my soul. Grace I see, God I don't. Sometimes I believe, sometimes I don't. But grace I feel, and grace I know, and grace is touching my soul. I probably will retard it a little bit at the end, but I'll probably not quite there. But anyway, okay, great. Yeah, just keep pushing the beat, because I'm basically a beat pusher, except now that I'm older, I don't push it quite as much.
Well, I feel like I can be on the beat and you can push it with your solos.
I push it with the guitar too. I think. Gee, I've been accused of being a beat pusher my whole life. They're beat pushers, beat laggers, and beat right-oners, and I've been a beat pusher, which is
There's risers up here which make logistics a little interesting. All right. Welcome to BSUU's service today, January 28th. I'm Karen McLean. I'll be leading the service. As you are welcome here. Visitor, friend, or a longtime member, you are welcome here. With little children, or your partner, or alone, we joyfully welcome you here. You are welcome here as believer or doubter, as joiner or loner. You are welcome here. Feeling a part of us or not, full of energy or not, seeking a vision or a rest. You are welcome to join us as you are. We acknowledge that we are in the Aboriginal territories of the Salish, Nez Perce, Blackfeet, and Anishinaabe people who shared the Helena Valley as hunting grounds. The indigenous story of the Helena Valley began long before the arrival of the Europeans. We honor those who walked here before us. We honor the path they have shown us in caring for this place for generations to come. And we strive for justice and fair relations with their descendants. And Sam, would you please come up and light the chalice? And we're going to say this all together. May we know once again that we are not isolated beings, but connected in mystery and miracle to the universe, to this community, and to each other. Now we're going to sing our song, If There Is a God. This is written by Judy Fiel, who's leading it. And please stand as you're willing and able. Page 28 in that Out of Our Hearts songbook.
If there is a God, God is elusive. If there is a God, God is right in my face. If there is a God, I'm not so important. If there is a God, is that who's given me grace? 'Cause grace I see, God I don't. Sometimes I believe, sometimes I don't. But grace I feel, and grace I know, and grace is touching my soul. If I believe, do I practice detachment? Walk in silence, sit for days, lay down my life, fighting for justice, or live like a poet and sing God's praise. Oh, but grace I see, God I don't. Sometimes I believe, sometimes I don't. But grace I feel, and grace I know, and grace is touching my soul. If there is a God, do I argue gender? If God is so big, does God even care? I don't mean about me, I just mean about the details. Oh, I'm blinded by God. They say that God's everywhere. Oh, but grace I see, God I don't. Sometimes I believe, sometimes I don't. but grace I feel and grace I know. If God is grace, then God is touching my soul. Grace I see, God I don't. Sometimes I believe, sometimes I don't. But grace I feel and grace I know, and grace is touching my soul.
Thank you. Now we have joys and concerns, if anybody has any, and there will be a time later in the service at the end, after we finished recording, where we can share more private joys and concerns. Here we go.
So we've been getting some notices in the mail this week from Kathy Barker about Camp Miminogish. And for those of you who have been there, you know that it's got a beautiful old chapel that is not a very good building, meaning that the fireplace smokes, the lights are bad, the windows let in mosquitoes, etc. They have taken on a new project to improve that building, which in some ways, except for the dining commons, is the heart of camp. So there's a kind of a short-term matching grant, $5,000, and I think it's going to expire February 9th or towards the end of February. And anyone would like to make a donation, how do you suggest that's done, Ken? Straight to Miminogish or through us or what?
I think in the announcements this week, we'll put links to get you the best way to them. They don't do Venmo, but there are a lot of other options.
Okay, so I just wanted to give you the high sign to start thinking about that, because we'll be there in August. And if we can get it fixed up, it'll be a much nicer experience.
I'd just like to share the joy that I feel very enculturated this weekend, because Friday night we went to hear Wilbur and Fred at Benny's, and then yesterday I went to the simulcast of Carmen at Cinemark, and then we went to Artist Talk, Sean Chandler, do I have his name right, at the Holter, and then we went to the Symphony, where the piece by Mahler completely surprised me, because the talk about it from Maestro Scott was that a lot of people don't like Mahler. And so I was kind of prepared not to like Mahler. It was incredible. It was so wonderful. And our Becky Tipler, who plays the oboe, had a special part. Mahler gave these instructions that she put her oboe up, I don't know how many times, but quite a scene. So I just want to say that I have a great joy of living here in Helena. It is a wonderfully cultured place.
I'm very happy today that my friend Christine Garceau is with us for the service. Christine and I go back, our friendship began 45 years ago, and we've traveled all over the country and other parts of the world together since then. And like myself, she's a photographer and a photo educator, so we've been having a great time. And yeah, it's just really nice for her to connect with you all here, and she made something very special for the potluck.
I want to say just a quick shout out to Shar Hansen, who is not able to be here today, but she's watching on YouTube. So I'm very grateful we have a YouTube for her to be a part of this. And Shar, we're all thinking about you.
Anyone else? I should back up so I can see everybody. Okay. Now we're going to do our offering, and it will be followed by thank you for your loving hands, which is on page 25 of the songbook. Thank you, Sam and Mara, for taking care of the offering plates.
Thank you for your loving hands, your loving heart, your loving ways. Thank you for the gifts you bring into the world each day. And if you ever doubt yourself, remember us who love you well. We know all the gifts you bring into the world each day. So thank you for your loving hands, your loving heart, your loving ways. Thank you for the gifts you bring into the world each day.
Now we're going to have the story for all ages. I need for those young ones among us, and also the young at heart, to come on up to the front. I have a special introduction to make. The mic? Yeah, I do. All right, thank you. Is everybody up here? Oh, there's another one. I see some young at heart that are not coming up. Maybe they'll come up later, do you think? Maybe, yeah. So let me introduce to you a new character here. His name is, what is my name? Well, his name is Nubbins. He was found under the wardrobe of a room there at Camp Miminogish. He was with the dust bunnies under the wardrobe. Oh, my name is Nubbins. Nubbins. You know what a nubbins is? Do you know what a nubbins is? It's a little bump. I'm a little bump. Dust bunnies? Yeah, dust bunnies. My name is Nubbins of the Dust Bunny clan. times have I heard that question? Where's my other sock? You were a lonely only. I was the lonely only. Yeah, a lonely only sock. Will I ever find my other sock? Will I ever find my other sock? She said no. Sorry, I'm laughing. Maybe. Harrison said, maybe I might find the other sock. Well, in an infinite universe, maybe I might find the other sock. I'm all by myself. I'm alone. I'm the only nubbins in the world. Well, you're not totally alone. We're around. We've got you. You're right on my hand. And you know what? You have a special purpose. You're now not just an ordinary, run-of-the-mill, average sock all by yourself. You're a puppet. So, I'd rather be an ordinary sock with another sock. Well, you're by yourself. You know what? It's just that way in this life. You have spirit. That's why there's an S on your chest. Spirit. Sure enough. Where's your ass? Where's your ass? Do you have an ass? Harrison, do you have an ass? No ass? Harrison has an S in his name. 2 of them. Just one. Okay. So how do I know they have spirit? I don't see it. Well, you need multi-dimensional vision. Whoops. Here we go. Middle C, please. Oh, you know we are one. Oh, you know we are one. Oh, you know we are one. We just got. We just are separate. Because that's more. Everybody! Oh, you know we are one. Oh, you know we are one. Oh, you know we are one. We just come separate, that's more fun.
Buddhist, Christian, Muslim, and Jew. We just come separate 'cause that's more fun. Hindu, Shinto, pagan, atheist too. We just come separate 'cause that's more fun. And oh, you know we are one. Oh, you know we are one. Oh, you know we are one. We just come separate 'cause that's more fun. Oh, white and brown, we just come separate 'cause that's more fun. From every continent and every land, we just come separate 'cause that's more fun. And oh, you know we are one. Oh, you know we are one. Oh, you know we are one. We just come separate 'cause that's more fun. Coyote, lizard, leopard, and whale, we just come separate 'cause that's more fun. Sunflower, crabgrass, willow, and kale, we just come separate 'cause that's more fun. And oh, thank you, Judy. Oh, I see. Well, I'll have to pass that on. All right. So, let me. All right, so thank you for letting me talk today. In 1893, in Chicago, a short distance from the First World's Fair, this planet's Byzantine assortment of belief systems metamorphed into the First World's Parliament of Religion. Organized by Unitarian minister Jenkin Lloyd Jones, pastor of Chicago's Unitarian Church of All Souls. As described in his book, A Chorus of Faith, the soul had escaped its conventional fetters, laid aside its ecclesiastical trumpery, and had gone out to play in the open fields of God, proving that human nature is a splendid thing upon which to build a religious fellowship. I learned about this event from a program called A Chorus of Faiths, a series of workshops created by Renee Rakowski and Hannah McConaughey. You can find it on the UUA website. For this talk today, I'm using information from A Chorus of Faiths, as well as my personal experiences.
The world's parliament of religion was an example of religious pluralism. The Oxford Dictionary defines pluralism as a condition or system in which two or more states, groups, principles, sources of authority coexist. Pluralism is generally talked about in the context of religion. We are all challenged to engage in pluralistic action if we want social justice, peace. It's a bit scary establishing genuine connection with people of opposite mind. This kind of connection is a new construction. It's a spiritual connection. Spiritual? Really? Yes, spiritual. Because what we're talking about here is bridging differences that go deep. Pluralism goes beyond celebrating diversity. Diversity is a fact, a reality. Pluralism is action, and it's necessary. For the sake of the unsheltered, we must grapple with the bottom line obsessed landlords among us to spring for those less fortunate. For the sake of life's survival on this planet, we must stand strong, getting up close and personal, reckoning with the well-heeled climate deniers who continue profiting from extraction of our resources and polluting the environment. For the sake of democracy surviving this coming 2024 presidential election, we must find common ground with even rabid Trump supporters, letting love quench the fear that feeds their hate. I'm a better talker than a walker. As you know, the saying, just walk the talk. I'm not inclined to engage in pluralistic activities. I'm a hermit, a self-involved introvert. I'm happiest curled up in my easy chair reading a good book. If my husband Ken gets me out, it's with a metaphorical crowbar. I'm exaggerating a little. I do participate in BSUU happenings. It's safe. We seem to agree with each other about most things, so I'm good. Connecting with people of opposite mind is the last thing I feel like doing. However, having to connect with people of opposite mind has been the substance of my life's journey this time around, especially with respect to religion. How ironic. So, religion. Coming to spiritual awareness is a journey of as many paths as there are souls taking that journey. I believe, at least in part, that becoming one's authentic self is the path. Authentic. I remember Carolyn mentioning that word, a most used word, authentic. So becoming one's authentic self is the path. I believe that. But manifesting my true nature is not easy. How is it? Hard. Am I overthinking it? How does it happen that suffering so often is an integral part of my process? Where's the sense of balance? Where's the peace? So many questions. Religion seems to be a necessary part of finding answers. It's human to want answers, But finding answers is hard work. This is where the trouble starts. Having labored long figuring out how all this metaphysical, spiritual stuff works, we humans get attached to our corners on the truth about that. We want to protect it. We want it set in stone. We find ourselves set in stone, paralyzed because protecting entrenched belief system becomes more important than connection with each other. Consequently, we suffer from blocked energy, disease of spirit. Yet, in all this dysfunction, miraculously, there are just enough sacred moments, sparks of insight, and threads of grace to keep us soldiering onward. This is the path. It works. It just did not seem to work for me. My life's path was a convoluted swing from one belief system to the opposite, and a few herky-jerky variants in between. Confusion, shame, bitterness, and time alone in the metaphorical wilderness were part of that process. At age 20, having broken away from my fundamentalist upbringing, that's Christian fundamentalist, I became a reactionary atheist. If submitting to critical judgments were the terms for connection to God, then I did not need God. But getting bored with atheism, I swung into a bewildering amalgam of Eastern philosophies like the Chinese concept of qi, with its yin-yang balancing of opposites into one. And as Sarah Bond told us 2 weeks ago, the Tao, best known from May the Force Be With You. There's no quantifying these unseen energies. And then there is this spirit self within us and outside us, binding us all. Wan Wu, or the Hindus, Atman, when we are co-creators with the universe. This is what drew me in, the sense of agency. I have total responsibility for my life. However, there were times in my life when I wasn't up for full responsibility. At age 29, I was in a rough patch. It was easier to put it all on Jesus, and I did. My best guess about that is that I needed grounding in what first nurtured my spirit. This time, accepting Jesus in my life was a conscious decision. I cannot question that moment's integrity. In that place, at that time, Jesus was exactly what I needed. In the early 1980s, I sang with an evangelical Christian ministry band touring West Africa and the United States. Most of our presentations in Africa took place in Christian villages. But occasionally we would go to villages where Islam was practiced. For one particular Islamic village, we had to ask permission. After thinking it over, the village leader said, "Yes, we all serve Allah, whom you will praise." So we did our program without the hard sell on salvation through Christ. Band members grumbled later how that was a disingenuous waste of time. But I loved what this village leader said. I realized then that I am no evangelist. I could not sell Jesus, this Savior, a supernatural coat hanger that takes on sins instead of coats. I realized the futility of putting it all on Jesus as if he was responsible for and would fix all my problems, all the world's problems. I realized I had given up my personal power to this Superman figure stuck on a pedestal. The church put him there. I put him there. I was done with the Jesus Christ is your Savior version of Christianity, which is pretty much all of it. Even so, I continued searching for ways to experience the sacred. Then I met Ken. In our conversations about God, he would use the magic word co-creation. We are co-creators with the powers that be. The Atman within me awoke. Yes, my sacred self had always been there. In our life together, we still had periods of going to church and then not going. For me, relief began each phase and then later struggle. Throughout this roller coaster journey, there were two constants for me. One, the Spirit and Jesus remained present within me. And two, the knowledge that this thing I called God is infinitely bigger than anything I could ever define or even conceive of. In our life together, Ken would often say, if the universe is indeed infinite, then infinite things are not only possible, but actually exist within the infinity of space and time. That little saying felt like a gift. It reflected our philosophy as a family, and over time, it became obvious that we were fundamentally incompatible with beliefs recited in litanies of traditional Christian churches. Over time, I quit feeling bad about that. Just because it worked for other faithful churchgoers didn't mean it had to work for us. I believe these metaphysical powers that be, they work around, even with religious beliefs, entrenched and dysfunctional as they can be. And in this complex process, we all grow, we all transform, we all come to a deeper spiritual awareness and even full manifestation of our authentic nature. In that process, it might slowly dawn on us that our particular religion is of less consequence. I also took a little bit of responsibility for my life, examining this repeating pattern of reactionary religion. becoming the antithesis of what I bitterly left. This kind of simplistic reductionism makes for a shallow spirituality. It's a lame excuse for not forgiving. I started work on that. Eventually, forgiveness happens. About 30 years ago, I decided to teach private music lessons at home. In the place we lived, 80 to 90% of my students just happened to be homeschoolers from extremely conservative fundamentalist Christian families. With these folks, I did not talk religion. We did music. A friend commented, "How was it that I was the one private music teacher in town with all these fundamentalist Christians taking music lessons from me?" I had no idea. Then I realized that they may have sensed that somehow I understood them. Being understood is not easy when you troop your 9 kids over to the public high school at 7 a.m. to hand out literature condemning the satanic intentions of public schools. I understood these people because I had grown up in a similar space. Part of a religion that nurtured me, sheltered me, and left its mark on me. It still takes me less than 30 seconds to pin my hair up in a pious, no-nonsense bun. Pluralistic action meets its greatest challenge with blood relatives. Coming out of an abusive childhood, one of my sisters found Jesus, which saved her life. She kept herself within a conservative vein of Christianity and thrived. She and I do whatever it takes to find common ground. Another sister of mine survived 9 years of living on a squalid edge, suffering abuse with a psychotic con man. Healing from that experience is her life's work. She is difficult for me to be around. What really rubs me wrong is her fanatic support of Donald Trump. And she says Jesus Christ is her Savior, although going to church about that is not her thing. Last spring, she was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer, underwent treatment over the next few months, and currently is in remission. Suffering from her last round of chemotherapy last September, she prayed a lot. During the worst nights, she noticed a misty presence in the chair near her bed. That mystical entity keeping vigil didn't care one whit about her political leanings. I have to believe that. It's very simple. She asked for support, she got it. This coming summer, this same sister is hosting a family reunion. Some of those folks are conservative. I asked Ken, what will we be up against? Talking religion, politics. He reminded me of what we know that's true, point for point. Okay, we have a start. Perhaps we could take it to the next level. dissolving barriers, preserving and even deepening relationships, and fostering genuine growth within ourselves. We can do this. Amen. We'll now have a moment reflection. Meditation in silence. Now it's time for reflection.
Thank you, Karen. That really sparked a lot of thought for me. And particularly your last part about your sister who's on the political divide from you. As many of you know, Rad Monti is a friend of mine, and he's the man that organized the recovery camp up Orofino Gulch that got shut down some months ago. And having a relationship with him has been quite challenging because he's almost the cartoon epitome of a Trumpster and truly believes a lot of things that I think are myths or lies, and will argue with me point for point about what I believe. And I haven't seen him for a while, which has been a big relief because he also has a deep rage. And when he gets tweaked, he goes into a rageful state that is very difficult to witness. So this week, Rad's coming over on Wednesday, and we're gonna do some projects together. And part of me is welcoming him because in truth, I really like him and I really respect him. But you never know what's gonna happen. So I'm kind of girding my loins at the same time, but this issue that is in our country is so big, and there are so, as far as I know, no answers except to keep going. And my own soft side, and Jesus is one of my teachers too, a profound teacher. And I think of the person that who has been described to us in literature, not Christian literature, other literature, really informs my soul. And so I will be thinking about that this week as I interact with Rad.
Katie.
Thank you, Karen. That was a wonderful service. I have a quote that I wrote down by Deepak Chopra, who is a meditation, yoga, wellness practitioner, a medical doctor. And it says here, Let me see if I can find it. But I think it's a quote that you may appreciate. I'm thinking of it since hearing your story about religion and spirituality. Nirvana is freedom from suffering, not just about happiness, but a profound, everlasting peace transcending every worldly concern.
Thank you, Katie. Anyone else? All right. Let's see. I got to think about what comes next. We are singing another song of peace. This is on page 18. Yeah. Oh, I have it written right there in the order of service. How about that? Sing, ring, ring, ring. Hands, hearts, voices with every boy and girl. Sing another song of peace wherever you may be. Sing out the sound, world around of peace and harmony.
So now the next part, just sing either the chorus or the death chant. And Karen will sing the death chant, you can follow her, or I'll sing the chorus, and they go together. So I'm gonna go sing, she's gonna go sing.
Sing.
2, 3.
Sing, sing,
another song of peace. Let it ring around the world. Hold hands and
hearts, voices with every boy and girl. Sing another song of peace wherever you may be. Sing out the song, world around of peace and harmony.
Thank you.
We now extinguish this chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Do we have announcements?
Well, I want to start by thanking Rayleigh, who came today to fill in for Cole, who's out with COVID. So it appears she's doing a great job. Thanks, Rayleigh. I am also making an announcement on behalf of Valerie Hillerman. We are hosting 2 families of Syrians. We, as that's our community of Helena. And one family is arriving this coming week on the 7th of February. The second family is arriving the 16th. They're both family of 5 people. First family, the parents are in their 60s and their children are in their 20s. And the second family, they're in their 30s and the kids are mid-teenagers. They are coming straight from, one's coming from Jordan and one's coming from Lebanon. They haven't had any transition time. So they'll be showing up in Helena to a whole new world with suitcases with their clothes, and that's it. Valerie has managed to get a couple of apartments at Carroll College. There's a family there of Turks that speak the language, so these families won't be completely isolated. Since we haven't met them yet, we don't know what issues and challenges they're going to be facing. But the apartments are empty. They need beds, a kitchen table, a couch. I made a list that's out on the name tag table that lists the things that would really help. And so Valerie has asked that people help get these homes set up for the newcomers. And her contact number is on that list. So if you've got something, you can give her a call and make arrangements. So here we are, up for another challenge of embracing people who've lost everything.
Other announcements? Sarah?
It's not really an announcement, but Cass, I'm assuming any warm clothes would also be greatly appreciated? Winter clothes?
I don't know exactly, but I do know that God's Love and Good Sam both have kind of libraries of winter clothing.
Okay.
So that's probably not the worst. Probably beds is number one.
I'll call Valerie.
Yeah. Thank you.
Beds is number one. Other announcements? Yeah. Yes, thank you, Katie, for the reminder. We have a potluck dinner downstairs. And I went to a lot of work to make beans, so I want people to avail themselves. So, let's see. I don't think I heard, there was somebody said something.
The recording is over.
Okay. Yes, joys and concerns that won't be recorded. Does anybody have any?